600 miles, 13 legs, 11 islands and a fleet of 66 boats. Plus one of the most impressive lineups of Maxis and high performance machines that the race has ever seen. The Caribbean 600 kicked off this week in spectacular conditions. As always, the race started from English Harbour in Antigua, and as expected, conditions were perfect for an upwind start in 16 to 20 knots of breeze. IRC Class 2 kicked things off, with the multi-hull starting last 40 minutes later. And after rounding the eastern end of Antigua, the fleet cracked sheets to head north to the next mark off Barbuda. Among the talking points ahead of this year's race, there was plenty of attention focused on the IRC fleets, especially on the big guns. In IRC Super Zero, there was an impressive collection of Maxis, including Lucky, Leopard and Bullet. And no less than 5 Volvo 70s, Pyewacket, Il Mostro, Ocean Breeze, Aeolus and Schuss too. In IRC Zero, the focus of attention was on Ran, Daggett, Final and Inno Noir. Ahead of the race, the Nelson's Cup Series had provided a few clues as to the potential pecking order. Among the notable performances, Niklas Zenström's Karkik 52 Ran scored 5 straight wins to take IRC 1, as well as winning the Nelson's Cup Series overall. But their success hadn't been easy. Pushed hard by Frederick Puzin's Karkik 54 Daggett, there were early signs that these two would be locking horns on a more regular basis. Behind them, there'd been a tight battle for third that had gone down to the wire between James Neville's Karkik 45 Inno Noir and John Desmond's Pack 52 Final. Tied on points after the last race, Inno Noir won on countback. Further evidence perhaps of what was to come. It was a similar scene in the Maxi class. Of the 8 Maxis entered, 6 of them got onto the podium in the 6-race series. And this series was won by Andrea Recordati's Wally 93 Bullet, with Karel Komarek's Wally Cento 5 taking second place. In IRC2 there was more close racing. Jim Voss's RP37 Warthog, skippered by Jules Mitchell and a youth team from Antigua, won the Antigua 360 race to win the series on countback. Peter Dunlop and Victoria Cox's J122 Mojito was runner-up in the series, with Philip France's NM43 Albator in third. So, going into the big one, the bottom line was clear. This year, more than ever, the competition was going to be close, throughout the fleet. And indeed it was. But for the front-runners, it was also fast. 18 hours into the race and Lucky was halfway round and leading the fleet, chased by Leopard 6 miles behind in second. Behind them it was a tussle between 2 of the Volvo 70s, Pyewacket and Schuss 2. But in the overall rankings in IRC, it was Ran that was in the lead on corrected time, chased hard by Daggett 5. Inno Noir was third on handicap, but the margins on corrected time were small. As always, the passage through the lee of Guadeloupe was tricky and provided a big tactical challenge for everyone. But while Leopard made gains initially, Lucky threaded her way through the difficult conditions to extend their lead by the time they got back into clear air at the southernmost extreme of the course. After 24 hours of racing, the overall lead on handicap was with Christian Zugel's Volvo 70 Schuss 2, but only just. Behind them, Daggett 5, the Volvo 70 EOS and Ran were all piling on the pressure as they threaded their way past Guadeloupe. Just 17 hours later, Lucky crossed the finish to take line honours, beating Leopard by just over 2 hours.
Well, the RORC Caribbean 600 is amazing. It's a course for us navigators. It's basically non-stop. It's one thing after another. There's not a single minute of relaxation, of chilling out. It's all what's next? Whatever it's course, rocks, just making sure that the boat doesn't hit any rock. Just trying to go as close as possible to the headlands, to the turning marks, the lee side of the islands, the wind shadows, showers, as we said before. So all these ingredients make, especially for navigator and for everyone actually in the crew, because there's a lot of maneuvers, a lot of sail changes as well, makes a pretty much working all the time, non-stop.
The ability to race a good race until you get to Guadeloupe. And Guadeloupe is a time when you're looking very much at everybody and where they may enter where we are. And of course, when you're in the lead, as we were this time to get there, you go first. So you become the guinea pig. People see where you go. They see that you slow down. We saw today or yesterday, I guess, that Leopard went a little bit further out because I think they saw that we looked like we were in trouble there. But with Juan making the judgments that he's made, we were able to catch breeze after only a limited time of very slow speeds and get out of there at the right time. So we didn't sail the extra miles. That really helped us preserve the slight lead we had going into that. So it's very close racing all the way. You know, you have to perform at a very high level. The crew did. Brad, Dean, Stu getting the boat here, and Juan in navigation. It all came together for us. We're happy to be line honors with Lucky.
But while their performance on the water had been dominant, when it came to corrected time, they'd still not gone quickly enough. Instead, crossing the line 4 hours behind was still enough for Shush 2 to take the win in IRC Super Zero on corrected time.
It's a major milestone for me, and RORC have just nailed it with the course. The course isn't easy, you know. There's a couple of times, like, you know, poor old Campbell and Neil and Stu yesterday trying to get us past Guadeloupe and that. I thought we'd still be there, you know what I mean? But just persistence, and then we just, you know, got out of there, got going, and just, yeah, RORC have just done a really, really good job with the race. It's got everything.
Yeah, so the final couple of hours are really tough. Everybody is extremely tired. I don't think we even spoke for 30 minutes. We were just literally sitting there hoping that it's over soon, and you just hope, okay, we have to do another tack. Oh, another tack. Another tack. It's further than you think. You sort of see Antigua, you know where you're going, but it's still distance and miles away, and beating into the waves, beating in towards the finish, it feels like it takes forever. So tough, and then slowly but surely, as you get closer and closer to the finish, you begin to relax. Chatter starts, laughter starts. We're not quite high-fiving yet, but you are definitely feeling that everybody's beginning to relax, and the emotions overwhelm you. You're so excited, you're tired, you're happy. You know you've accomplished a major win. So all of it flows together, but only on the last couple of miles.
Well, for me, it's like the last beat. Everything's gone through. We broke one little thing, which I kind of take personally, and I actually broke it, so I have to take that one on the chin. But I'm always just like, hold together. We've done, you know, it's the last beat, and you know, we've got these guys in our crosshair. Every tack, you know, you're wondering, is anything going to happen or not happen? But I've always been pretty good in the sense that I've got confidence in the boat and the guys around me, and I know that my prep has been pretty good, and Ed, who works with me, our prep has always been pretty good, and I try not to leave anything to chance.
So obviously, if you want to win IRC overall, you first have to win IRC, your class in IRC, which in our case was Super Zero. We had 11 boats, as I said, on the entry list. We knew that it will be a very tight battle. We thought that Pyewacket, which is sort of the sister ship to ours, was a very, very strong contender, as was Balthasar. And Ilos, another Volvo 70 boat. So those were the boats we concentrated on. We knew Lucky and Leopard would race ahead, but they have a very tough handicap to overcome. So once we knew it, we said, let's focus on the IRC 1 class to see who is behind us, do we have a good chance against them or not, and we kept following their battle very, very closely, and it was between Daggett and Rahn. They were battling all time long, and we actually all were so tense that we went to a bar and literally had 3 laptops open and kept track of every marker. And then at the end, Rahn caught a right shift, a big right-hander, and which allowed them to not only pass Daggett but also start eating into our time. And the nervousness on our crew was unbelievable. But then once they crossed the finish line, we knew we had it. It was obviously great relief and lots of joy.
Meanwhile, the battle in IRC 0 went all the way to the wire, with Rahn crossing the line 44 minutes behind Daggett, enough to take the class win by just 8 minutes on corrected time. This was an impressive performance by Zenstron's team, who got through into the lead on the last leg. But this was also the 3rd time in a row that Rahn 8 has won its class, and that's on top of their win in the Maxis 72 back in 2012.
So last year, when we were battling out with Wizard, they were just behind us, and we were leading with, we thought maybe half an hour or something, I don't know, something like that on corrected. And we were a little bit relaxed on the way over because it's like the final stretch. And they did what we did today. They extended and went on the inside of us and managed to get that shift. So that's what we did this time. So I guess also a bit of experience having done this race a few times. You're learning every time. So we were pleased with that, and I think we were also had this was a time where we also things played out. It could also go the other way around. So the reality is the finish could be either way, right? Of course, we're pleased that we won. We fought hard for it, and sometimes with yacht racing, you need to be having the benefit of some shifts as well. So that's what we benefited from. But without that, they would have won the race. These boats are very hard to sail because they're wide, water ballast, twin rudder. So we've been having a few years now to get up to speed, and this year with the Get 5 here, and just out of the box, they're very, very fast in certain conditions. So we've been watching them very closely, and I'm sure we're going to have a debrief and say, okay, what can we learn from them? And I'm sure they're looking at us and learning from us. So that's what you want. You want really, really tight competition with similar yachts, and then that's how everyone is learning. And we certainly love the competition, and the Get 5 team put on a really, really, really good competition this year.
So on Friday morning, with most of the fleet now finished, the results look like this. In IRC overall, it was Shush 2, Rahn and Daggett 5 that took the podium spots, while in IRC Super 0, Balthasar and Aeolus took 2nd and 3rd. In IRC 0, it was Rahn, Daggett and Final that were the 3 taking home the silverware, with Inno Noir just off the podium in 4th. Philip Franz Albator was the winner in IRC 1, with the Class 40 Tequila in 2nd and Pata Negra in 3rd. And in IRC 2, Ross Appleby demonstrated that his long list of successes in Scarlet Oyster have been no fluke by winning this class aboard the Elan 450 Team Scarlet on Emily. Mojito came 2nd and El Alcazo in 3rd. Now here's something to watch out for this season, a new racer cruiser that takes several of its cues from the often radically styled modern Class 40s. Built by SR Structures in Lymington and designed by Mark Lombard, the Lift 45 is due to be launched in April. While she's clearly biased towards racing, performance cruising was high on the list too. Fast and easy to handle for a crew of 2, the draft had to be compatible with Brittany Harbours, and she had to be comfortable to live aboard. But this is also a design that includes water ballast and a rig that's taller than a Class 40's. The extra hull length will make the Lift 45 more comfortable in waves and means she can carry more weight. The hull shape follows on from Lombard's latest Lift V3 Class 40 that was the product of an extensive CFD campaign. One of the key characteristics will be a bow-up attitude at speed, while the long overhang stem will provide a smoother, drier ride downwind. Moving race yachts around the world is a complex task, often involving tight schedules, and the larger the yacht, the trickier it is, as shipping experts Sevenstar Yacht Transport know well. Among the list of race yachts on a deadline this season were Maxis V and Bullet that were heading to the Caribbean before coming back to the Mediterranean. Shipping with the mast up saves valuable time at both ends, but it also adds to the complexity and can require custom cradles. Loading can present a challenge too, especially if the boats have a lot of mast rake. Then you might need 2 cranes. Plus, deep draft keels mean they have to be lifted high to get onto the cradle, which is why when you're shipping a €20 million race boat, you want an expert. Once again, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to us. It's free, it doesn't cost anything, and you won't get spammed, but it does make a big difference to what we can do on the channel. Plus, make sure you hit the notification bell to stay up to date with new content. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and of course our website. Plus, if you'd like to talk to us about advertising, sponsorship, or any other commercial issue, we'd love to talk to you. So please do drop us a line. So wherever you are in the world, fair winds, and we'll see you next time.